ASMR Magical Tools. Hi, welcome back. Welcome back. So, I will be doing another free reading giveaway, and the link is in the description box if you'd like to fill out the Google form. Let's get started talking about the week ahead. This is going to be June 21st through the 27th. So the moon is starting out in Scorpio, and by the time we get to Sunday, the moon will be in Aquarius. Monday, June 21st. The moon in Scorpio is going to be quincunx Chiron in Aries. That's very early in the morning. So that moon in Scorpio energy is very hidden, and trying to keep things hidden. And Chiron in Aries is all about healing the parts of yourself which may have a tendency to begin things and not finish them, or be impatient, or possibly childish maybe. So there could be something that comes to light that forces you to confront those issues, and it could have to do with secrets. The moon in Scorpio is going to square Saturn, which is now retrograde in Aquarius. And this Saturn retrograde in Aquarius is really going to reinforce any kind of stuck feelings you have regarding your place in society, in your social groups, and in the world in general. Aquarius can also have to do with social media, and Aquarius can have to do with the flow of new ideas. So all of those things, when you're looking at that very established Saturnian energy, it's a very slow energy, and right now it's even, retrograde, so it seems to be moving backwards. So that might be something for a lot of you this week that causes you some frustration. And when you're talking about a square, the moon in Scorpio, again, this is all of these hidden energies. It's very secretive energies. So that square could have to do with secrets regarding the reasons that things might be stuck for you. There's going to be an opportune period, though, on Monday, and that is going to begin when the moon in Scorpio is in opposition to Uranus in Taurus. This is very early in the morning. And there's also going to be a grand trine of water signs. So Venus in Cancer, Neptune in Pisces, and the moon in Scorpio are all going to be trining each other on Monday. And so this opportune period is going to inspire emotions and intuition. So that will be lasting until our overnight energy, when the moon in Scorpio is sextile Pluto in Capricorn, which also is retrograde right now. We have a lot of retrogrades. We've got Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter, and Pluto. So that's a good It's more than 12 hours. Not quite a full 24, but probably from about 3 or 6 a.m. until a quarter till midnight or a quarter till 3 in the morning. So that's quite a big chunk of that day. That's pretty much all day Monday is that opportune period. So that water trine that I talked about between Venus, Neptune, and the moon is going to be very intuitive. It's going to be very good for emotions. We do have a quincunx also between the moon in Scorpio and Mercury in Gemini, which is retrograde. So there could be some kind of communication involved in that sparks off action of some kind. And then we do have that sextile, which is an overnight energy. So the moon in Scorpio sextile Pluto in Capricorn, which is going to be retrograde, is going to bring us into Tuesday the 22nd. Tuesday the 22nd. 22nd. We already talked about this moon in Scorpio sextile Pluto in Capricorn. That's our overnight energy. That Pluto in Capricorn retrograde, when you talk about that also in the context of Saturn in Aquarius retrograde, there's just a lot of upheaval going on in people's social groups, in their jobs. All of these things are symptomatic of these energies and vice versa. Mercury is going direct in the afternoon on Tuesday the 22nd. So it will be in its storm, however, until June 30th. So kind of unraveling again all of those tangled webs that Mercury retrograde can weave. Keep in mind that these retrogrades are really going to unseat any energies that are not aligned with your higher purpose and disrupt systems which need to be repaired. So it's not necessarily that all of these things are going to happen and it's just going to be bad for no reason. Usually what's going on is that because there's an emphasis on those energies, that anything which is misaligned or isn't working is going to break down. The moon is then going to enter the sign of Sagittarius early in the morning, around almost 6 a.m. on the west coast and almost 9 a.m. on the east coast. That moon in Sagittarius is going to quincunx the sun, which is now in Cancer. And this quincunx, so the sun in Cancer is very much about our emotional reciprocity with other people. And not so much from an intuitive sense that you might get from Pisces, but when you're dealing with Cancerian energies, you're looking at how you relate to others emotionally. So there can be some projection there. There can also be some inference, but not necessarily intuition. There's a lot of empathy, though, a lot of empathy for other people, and often wanting what's best for others. So this moon in Sagittarius has to do with exploring things which contribute to raising your vibration. And the moon is bringing these things to light. It can also have to do with highlighting your emotional states. So moon in Sagittarius, all of a sudden an opportunity might come up for you to go back to school or get more education. And with this quincunx here, the moon in Sagittarius, there might be something where you have an interaction with somebody, or you're examining your interactions with other people, and you have an epiphany possibly about ways to raise your vibration in those situations. That maybe there have been things that you were doing that were not necessarily aligned with everyone's higher vibration, and this might be brought to light at this time, and you might have an opportunity to fix that. The moon in Sagittarius is going to square Jupiter, which is now, of course, retrograde, in the sign of Pisces. Now, Saturn is fire energy and Pisces is water energy. And so at first glance, it seems that these two signs might be there might be a little bit of friction there. But because they're both mutable signs, you have the opportunity for change and growth. Now, Jupiter. Jupiter is native to Sagittarius, so there's that benefit there, that it's already geared toward this expansive process. With the Piscean energy, there might just be opportunity for intuitive, and especially with the moon illuminating things with its dark and mysterious light, opportunities for you to see growth potential in your future, possibly with a little help from your intuition. It would be a good time if you are somebody who does your own divination. That's going to be around 9:30 on the West Coast and 12:30 p.m. on the East Coast. So that would be a good time to do some divination. It will be right before Mercury goes direct, so you might still want to be asking questions about things which you already have in process rather than new things. So stuff that you've already been contemplating. And then, of course, Mercury is going to go direct. That's going to be around 3 p.m. on the West Coast and 6 p.m. on the East Coast. And remember, that shadow period is still going to last until June 30th. And then finally, we have Moon in Sagittarius trine Mars in Leo, and that's going to be in the evening and afternoon, like late afternoon into evening. So this moon in Sagittarius, having to do with elevating the self, the moon illuminating ways to do that, coming through a dark night of the soul to illuminate the self is also possible. And when you're seeing that trine with Mars in Leo energies, that Mars in Leo is really going to provide you with that boost, that creative spark that can really help you take that to the next level. So now let's talk about Wednesday, the 23rd. We're going to start out early in the morning with a trine between the moon in Sagittarius and Chiron in Aries. So this could be a good carryover energy. We had that trine the previous evening, which was Moon in Sagittarius and Mars in Leo. So this Chiron in Aries energy is the energy of healing the parts of the self which could have been damaged in early childhood, healing parts of the self which have a tendency toward being focused mostly on the self and not on others, beginning things and not finishing them. So this opportunity to elevate the self, emotional searching for those potential situations is going to be greatly aided by that energy. The moon in Sagittarius is then going to sextile Saturn in Aquarius, which, remember, is retrograde at this time. So that's a very stuck kind of an energy regarding new ideas, and also could have to do with social media or your social groups, any groups that you're a part of. But this moon in Sagittarius, again, is going to give you the opportunity for some expansion in that area, and push toward elevation of the self. The very next energy that we have following up that sextile is going to be the Sun in Cancer. Sun in Cancer is trine Jupiter in Pisces. So we do have a little bit more of this water trine energy coming through for this week. Remember that Jupiter is retrograde, so anything that's expanding is going to be kind of like pulling back and expanding too. It's going to be getting like it could almost be priming for like an explosion or something like that. And with that Sun in Cancer, you're looking at your relationships with other people very closely. So this could be an opportunity to expand your relationships with other people, and not necessarily insofar as social groups are concerned, but possibly like expanding the number of friends that you have, or making a lot of good, close emotional connections. Next we have the moon in Sagittarius, remember, is going to be quincunx Uranus in Taurus. And this Uranus in Taurus energy, one of the really great visualizers of it right now is the housing market and all of the volatility there. It is a seller's market right now. There's so many people buying houses right now. The recommendation for a lot of people is that if you're trying to buy a house right now, maybe wait. A lot of people are getting priced out of the market right now too. So, but this is going to be really early in the morning. So that moon in Sagittarius, for some of you, might be this really early morning offer that comes in. Like if you put in your offer to buy a house, be that kind of energy where you're kind of like elevating yourself to something that's more aligned to what you're about. And then the moon in Sagittarius is going to be in opposition to Mercury in Gemini, which has gone direct as of Tuesday the 22nd, but is still in its shadow period, right? So as far as communication is concerned, there could be some things that end up being a little bit tricky. Gemini is mutable and Sagittarius is mutable, and with air and fire coming together, things can be very volatile. With the moon there, you could have strong emotions involved. So just be careful. This is going to be kind of a middle of the morning energy for most of you. So if you are at a work situation at that time, or are in a school situation, a setting where you're around a bunch of other people, I just advise you to handle your communication very carefully, very gingerly at that time. We have an opposition right after that also. Well, right after. That one's going to be in the afternoon. So it's going to be Venus in Cancer is going to be in opposition with that Pluto in Capricorn energy, which is still retrograde. So that's a little bit tricky because with Venus in Cancer, you are very focused on other people's attractions, other people's place in your life. Venus in Cancer is an energy of reciprocal love between people. So it doesn't just have to be in romantic relationships. That could be the love between parents and children. It could be love between friends. But it is very much about that reciprocal emotional state of love. And Pluto in Capricorn, especially retrograde, things are very up in the air as it relates to how you utilize things in the world to improve your life, such as a career. So there could be somebody who's torn between spending time with the people they love and focusing on career. With this very topsy-turvy Pluto energy in that sign of Capricorn also, this normally very practical energy of Capricorn has been kind of, there's kind of like a lot of transition going on there. So Capricorn likes to be stable. Not quite as much as Taurus, but is always striving for upward mobility. And with this Pluto energy, I think I've mentioned before, I call Pluto Schrodinger's planet, in that, is it a planet? Is it not a planet? We're not going to get out there anytime soon to really investigate. But anyway, let's move on. So the moon in Sagittarius is then going to square Neptune in Pisces. And that will be when the moon is void, of course. That will be later in the evening, toward the night. Moon in Sagittarius, again, it's like a lifting of the vibration, looking at your emotional states. And because we're looking at it in the context of Neptune in Pisces, Neptune is like the higher vibration of our moon, a very watery planet, and in its native of Pisces at this time. So this moon in Sagittarius, while it is a square, it's an energy that's very aligned, again, toward using your intuition to find ways to raise your vibration and to improve. While Capricorn is improving your state of being in the mundane. Sagittarius energy is more about improving your state of being from a spiritual or a metaphysical standpoint. And then finally, we have an overnight energy, Saturn in Aquarius, which is retrograde, sextile Chiron in Aries. So now we're getting this opportunity to kind of anything that has been really stuck with this Saturn in Aquarius energy. Saturn in Aquarius energy, being in retrograde. Now we're getting an opportunity to teach ourselves patience, to focus less on feeling stuck and just enjoying what is happening around us. So on Thursday, the 24th, we are going to have a full moon in Capricorn. The moon is going to start out the day in Sagittarius, and there's going to be a quincunx with Venus in Cancer. And remember how I've been talking about this Venus in Cancer energy being very strong towards our reciprocal love with other people, our wonderful feelings that we have between ourselves. So this moon in Sagittarius, there could be an opportunity, although that's going to be very, very early in the morning, midnight on the West Coast and 3:30 on the East Coast. There's going to possibly be an opportunity for some of you to have an uplifting of the spirit that you share with another person, because quincunx is all about action energy. And then the moon's going to enter Capricorn. And the moon in Capricorn is going to be sextile Jupiter in Pisces, which, as you'll recall, is retrograde at this time, right? So remember that we have also Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which has been kind of very volatile. There's a lot going on, especially when it comes to people's careers. So this moon in Capricorn, sextile Jupiter in Pisces, could be an opportunity for something very unpredictable to happen regarding expansion of wealth. And there could be an intuitive spark about it. Intuitive spark like this. There could be something about it that is triggered by a psychic awareness. The moon in Capricorn is going to be in opposition to the sun in Cancer. That's the full moon, of course. And that's going to be around 11:40 in the morning on the West Coast and 2:40 in the afternoon on the East Coast. And of course, these two energies, you've got Cancer is a very homebody energy, and you've got Capricorn, which is a very practically minded energy, directed toward the mundane world a lot of the time. And the moon is native to Cancer. So the moon being in its detriment in Capricorn, not really like, you don't really want necessarily to be guided by intuition when you're looking at these practical matters. You want to be guided by intuition only insofar as it backs up the facts and evidence. Backs up the facts. So the sun in Cancer then also you're going to get the benefit of that shining a light on all of those practical matters, and bringing you the benefit of your empathy in those situations. So it's not necessarily a rough placement. It might actually do a lot to kind of temper people's inability to have empathy for one another at this time. And then finally, we have a quincunx between the moon in Capricorn and Mars in Leo, and that's going to be occurring in the evening, more toward the night. And this moon in Capricorn, again, related to issues of the mundane world, but possibly light being shown on secrets, bringing them to light, emotional states, especially with that full moon in Capricorn and having the sun in opposition in Cancer. So this Mars in Leo energy is always going to bring you just this like magnificent boost of energy, this creative spark. It's really going to help you capitalize on anything that comes through at that time. So now on to Friday, the 25th of June. And something exciting to look at here is that Neptune is going retrograde. Have you heard? Neptune's going retrograde. So now we have Saturn, we have Jupiter, we have Neptune, and Pluto. So we have 4 planets again retrograde, which Mercury is now not retrograde. But keep in mind that the storm is going to last until the 30th. So we're going to start out Friday with a square between the moon in Capricorn and Chiron in Aries. So this moon in Capricorn, as I mentioned, things might be hidden regarding your career. Things might be, sorry, there's a fly in here. Things might be hidden regarding your career. You might be having emotional turmoil regarding career as well. And this Chiron in Aries, while it is a square, it's going to give you an opportunity to examine these things and heal them in regard to yourself. The moon in Capricorn is then going to be trine Uranus in Taurus. And this Uranus in Taurus energy, I feel like, is really seeking out stability at this time. And we're looking at the stability of groups versus the stability of the self and all of these dynamics. And this moon in Capricorn is going to give you an opportunity to kind of reconcile that a little bit and see where you can use your own personal resources to improve your stability and possibly the stability of others. The moon in Capricorn is then going to quincunx Mercury in Gemini, which is now direct but is still in its shadow period. So that's going to be kind of in the middle of the morning. Moon in Capricorn, these practical matters do need to be discussed. I would recommend that if you do need to discuss anything pertaining to your career, try to keep it rooted in historical precedents, because of the Mercury still being in its shadow period at this time. So that you want to make sure, if you have to talk to your boss or anything like that, make sure that you have your record keeping in check so that you can draw from historical precedents. And then, of course, Neptune going retrograde. And once it has done that, the moon in Capricorn is going to be sextile Neptune in Pisces. And that's really going to wrap up a lot of these energies that we've had around emotional states. You know, Capricorn is not a very emotional astrological sign. So all of these energies that have to do with these water signs like Cancer and Pisces, where you're dealing with emotions and you're dealing with your intuition, this is going to be kind of tying a lot of that together as well. So now let's look at Saturday the 26th. And we're starting out very early in the morning, about midnight or about 3 a.m., depending on if you live on a coast of the United States. There's a conjunction between the moon and Pluto, which is retrograde, and that's going to occur in the sign of Capricorn. So, this is really going to give you an opportunity to have some vivid dreams about your future career success, what you need to be doing moving forward. So that's a possibility. Remember, this Pluto energy has just been wreaking havoc on people's lives. You think of it as being so far away. How could it possibly be affecting us? And yet, it does seem to be. But of course, I always encourage people to take astrology with a grain of salt. And I also want to remind you that correlation does not equal causation. So I know that I'm telling you these things, but I also want to give you the frame of reference that this is for entertainment purposes. I'm just going by the practice of astrology, but I will confess that I do not believe in astrology wholeheartedly. I find it very entertaining, and it's fun to see when everything lines up. And of course, as it regards my magical practice, I am looking for the best planetary energies to accomplish certain types of working. So when it comes to astrology in that sense, that's mostly where I adhere to it. The moon in Capricorn then is going to be in opposition to Venus in Cancer. And remember, we had the opposition when we had the full moon to where the sun in Cancer. So this is going to be kind of tying in some of those energies, possibly from Thursday. It could be a similar situation. This Venus in Cancer, again, remember, is very much about reciprocal love between us and other people, that reciprocity. So really take advantage of that if you're able to. And then the moon is going to enter Aquarius, right? That's going to be around 7 or 10 in the morning. Again, if you live on one of the United States coasts. The moon in Aquarius is then going to sextile the sun in Cancer. And this will be very good for your relationships with groups of people. So now we're kind of tying in that Aquarius energy, which can govern social media. It can govern your friend groups when you're dealing with people en masse rather than one-on-one. But this sun in Cancer is really going to give you the best opportunity to find your common core emotionally with other people, even in large groups. So that should be a good energy for you on Saturday the 26th for making new friends, making new connections. And then Venus is going to enter the sign of Leo. So now we have Venus in Leo, and we also have Mars in Leo. So most of the month of July is going to be very good for romance. It's going to be a very passionate time. It could also be a very fertile time for making money. Remember that Venus also has to do with money. For those of you who might be asexual, these energies still apply to you. It's just not necessarily going to be in sexual areas of your life. It could be in financial areas of your life. So then the moon in Aquarius is going to be in opposition to Mars in Leo. And this might be, so we've made all these great new friends with this quincunx, with the sun in Cancer. Just be careful that you don't come on too strong. So this is going to be an overnight energy, bringing us from Saturday into Sunday morning. So if you are hanging out late night on Saturday, just be mindful that you don't come off as too aggressive. Maybe if you drink or you partake in substances, just be careful how much of that you do so that you are making a really good impression on people. Because this Mars in Leo energy is great. It's a wonderful creative spark when you need it, but it can also cause you, as I with a Mars in Leo know firsthand, to be a little aggressive, to when you are partaking in things. Not that I'm suggesting you do that, but that it can make you kind of like over the top. So you just want to make sure that you're not making a beast of yourself to get rid of the pain of being a man. So now let's look at Sunday the 27th. Sunday the 27th of June. And I think that's my spouse's birthday. It's either the 26th or the 27th. And they're a Cancer. They're triple Cancer. That's enough information for now. We're going to start out, we have those overnight energies, which we already talked about. And then we have a conjunction between the moon in Aquarius and Saturn, which is retrograde right now. So the moon is really going to be reinforcing any kind of infighting within groups, any kind of, punctuated by the dog barking, of course, any kind of dynamic power plays that are going on. All those things are going to be highlighted by that energy. Now, it's going to be pretty early in the morning, but for those of you on the East Coast, this is going to be happening around 7:23 in the morning. So if you go into work at that hour, you might want to keep an ear to the ground about that. The moon in Aquarius is going to sextile Chiron in Aries. Pretty much right after that. So then that will give you an opportunity to patch up any of these little misunderstandings that may have come up with that conjunction with Saturn retrograde, and give you an opportunity to, if any of those things have come up because of self-centeredness in people, would be an excellent time to fix that. The moon in Aquarius is then going to square Uranus in Taurus. So all of us really want to be comfortable. All of us are looking for security in our lives right now. And because the moon is in Aquarius, people are having to reconcile that within the group. So there could be a lot going on where people are reconciling their need for stability and comfort in the setting of a larger group, and the moon energy shining on this with its very obscure kind of light. There's the potential for misunderstandings there somewhat. So just approach it with an open heart. And then finally, on Sunday the 27th, we have the moon in Aquarius is going to be trine Mercury in Gemini. And remember that it's still in its shadow period, coming out of retrograde. But this is still going to be a very good energy. It's going to be when the moon is void of course, which, is right before it goes into the next sign. And the moon in Aquarius trine Mercury in Gemini will give you an opportunity to any of these other issues that have come up throughout the day, possibly deal with them. This is going to be in the middle of the day, so around noon or around 3 p.m., depending on which coast you live on if you are in the United States. Hello, Aries. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. All right, Aries. So today I'm going to be using my plasma agate. What are we looking at for you for the week ahead? Sunshine, fresh air. It is a good time of year for that. You're questioning selling something. So I don't know if you sold something. It would have been like a car or a house. And you're wondering if you made the right decision. So feeling kind of like put out by it. So if you sold your house, maybe you didn't have a new place to live lined up yet. Or if you sold your car, maybe you don't have like a form of transportation to replace it. But I think that you did make the right decision in doing that, in that it was not going to be sustainable for you in the long term, and therefore it was important for you to, it's not like cutting your losses, because I think that you potentially made a fair amount of money off of the sale of whatever this item was. So not necessarily that you've been left out in the cold, only that you regret not having lined things up better for this situation. And there could be something to that. I think there definitely could have been more planning involved that would have helped you move through this transition more seamlessly. But I do think that overall you made the right decision. Whether it was selling something or just getting rid of something. But I feel like it was probably a very big ticket item. Like a house or a car, possibly a boat for some of you. But that if it was a boat, it was becoming too much of a liability, is what I'm seeing here. And that there were people around you, like if you had the boat and then had a child or something, Or if you have a boat and you live somewhere where there's like teenagers who are taking your boat for joy rides late at night, and potentially if they get hurt, you're still liable for that injury, even if they stole the boat from you to take it on this joy ride. So it could be something like that. Because you're still going to be able to enjoy what it is that this item afforded you, whether that is having a roof over your head, transportation. It's just going to take working it out. So that might not happen necessarily by the end of the month, but I feel like it's probably going to happen around the end of the month for you, Aries. All right, let's move on to the bibliomancy. So if you would, direct your questions right here into the cover of the book. Okay, yeah. Often men in low circumstances have risen by their industry to the loftiest stations. Go thou and do likewise. Aries, thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed the crystal scrying this week, please let me know down in the comments. Share it with your friends. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hi, Taurus. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. For the readings this week, I will be using this plasma agate. Plasma agate. It's called that, I think, because of all of it looks very liquidy inside, but it is solid rock. But that it formed as a plasma. Taurus, what are we looking at for you today? Crunching. Like cereal? Eating cereal. I can hear the spoon clinking on the bowl, and I feel it in my mouth. It could be granola. It could be something really crunchy, like Chex cereal. It's like an adult cereal for sure. It's not like kid cereal. Just kind of at home in your own kitchen, eating a bowl of cereal. When who should come to the door? The mailman. Does the mailman come to your door? I know we live in an apartment, but if we get packages, they're delivered to our doorstep. But I feel like this could be FedEx or the mail or something. And it could be something that you were not expecting. And it catches you off guard. Why is the cereal important here? Because it's breakfast time. So this could be really early in the day, FedEx would make sense because their hours are different. It's not like the mail person who comes pretty much at the same time every day. Although if you have a mail person where your part of the route is in the morning, it could be possible too. It looks like it's from a relative. Looks like it's from a parent. Probably not a cousin, but it could be. Depends on who you are close to. But this looks like a package from a relative who lives kind of far away, so this could be a parent. If you don't live very close to where your parents live, and they might send you a package. There's some paperwork in there having to do with like inheritance and stuff. And I feel like, what am I seeing here? This is something that you're supposed to sign, and then you can mail it back or you can fax it back to them. And there's other stuff in there too. I think, maybe like some cookies or something nice. Something fun. It's not just like, I'm gonna die soon, here's this box full of papers, please sign them and return them. No, there's like other stuff in there too. There could be also like letters that are mementos that are in there of some kind. That's also possible. But I don't think it's gonna like ruin your day completely, but you are gonna kind of put aside everything else that you had planned for this particular day and set aside time to read through everything and get it signed and get it sent back just as quickly as possible. So yeah, I think that the timeline kind of looks like you're eating some breakfast and then this package arrives and it catches you off guard, and you start going through these papers and you start to realize what this paperwork is about. Because I think I don't know if there's really a note attached, because I see like some extra little memento type stuff in the box, but I'm not really like seeing like a note in there with any like a cover letter or anything like that. It's just kind of like read through this legal jargon yourself and get back to me about it. So I don't know if you have a friend who deals with estate law, or anyone who has had a parent pass away and have to be the executor of the estate in any capacity. But you might want to talk to this person about this paperwork, just to give you a better idea of what you're looking at, because you want to go over this like really carefully. So the temptation might be to sit down and go through it all at once, all in one day. My recommendation would be to take it like one section at a time and kind of, either you have to initial each section. Sometimes you have to initial each section. But alternatively, it might be something where you take a sticky note and get like those little sticky note bookmarks and just stick it like on the page where you leave off. And that might be the better alternative for getting through the whole thing and reading it and understanding it and being able to Google things as you need to, and not assuming that you know what they're talking about. Definitely do not assume that you know what they're talking about. If you have any question, make sure you get it cleared up. And I feel like the person who sent you this, whoever that relative is, if they knew more about it, they would have had included more information about it. So it might be that this person doesn't even really fully understand the legal dealing with it per se. Like if it's an estate that they're setting up, that they might be working with this estate manager or this, lawyer or something to get all these documents drafted, but that they have their understanding of how things want to go, and they just convey that to their legal representative, and then the legal representative is putting all the documentation together. And so it might be very dense, and I recommend getting someone to help you sort through it, and don't think that you're going to be able to sit down and get through it all in a day. I recommend splitting it up, just because it'll give you an opportunity to like ruminate on things, Google things, because I think you probably have like a month or so to get it back to them. I don't think that a timeline has been firmly set, but I think that you do have a little bit of time to go over the legal paperwork and make sure that it is all filled out on your end the way that it needs to be. All right, Taurus, if you would direct any questions that you have into this book. And let's see what we have here. Yes. Prosperity will surely attend thee. All right, Taurus. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I enjoy our time together greatly. If you enjoyed this reading, please let me know down in the comments and share it with your friends if you think they also would get something out of it. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Gemini. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So today I'm going to be using this plasma agate for the crystal scrying, and you can see it has all these lovely striations where it was once quite fluid and then solidified. I really love the way that this stone looks. I love the feel of it too. Gemini, what are we looking at here for the week ahead? Prism culture. No, not prison culture. Prism culture. Almost as though you are looking through a prism at the world around you, and that you see everyone with a halo. I think this week it's likely that you are seeing the best in people reflected back to you. Mercury is retrograde in your sign right now, but that's really only going to emphasize all of the aspects of communication in your sign. It's not necessarily bad. In fact, being that entrenched in your intrinsic way of being might actually turn out being quite good for you. I feel like all the colors around you are more vivid. It's almost like you're just looking through a prism and you're seeing people's auras, possibly. You're seeing the natural beauty of the light spectrum as each individual item and person and thing kind of like interacts with it and reflects it back to you. So not just being a mirror, but being a prism. And this is going to affect your judgment positively. If you have had any depression over the past year, you might be getting a break this week. I certainly am not a therapist, so I'm not speaking to your particular mental illness specifically. But in this general reading, I am saying that you might feel your spirits uplifted this week, and that it might be a result of seeing things not from a slightly different perspective, but And it's not exactly rose-colored glasses, right? Rose-colored glasses would filter out all other parts of the spectrum. This is something where you're seeing everything not just as it truly is, but having the beauty of it amplified. So that it just makes you feel better about the world around you. Gemini, I think that's all I have to tell you about this week. Let's move on to the bibliomancy. All right, Gemini, if you would, direct your questions right here into the cover of the book. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, you're doing great. The answer is yes. By upright conduct, thou art sure to rise. Gemini, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed your crystal scrying, please let me know down in the comments. Tell your friends if you think that they'd get something out of this video also. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Cancer. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back. For the readings this week, I will be using this plasma agate. I love it. I love all the swirly, variegated designs. There's these little veins of clear crystal, if you can see that. It's beautiful, very beautiful. Cancer, what are we looking at for the week ahead? I don't know how many of you ever failed a class in elementary school and had to be held back, elementary or high school. But there's some kind of similar energy here. I don't think it's necessarily that you've gotten fired from a job or anything like that. It's something where you're going to have to go back to square one for something and take it from the top. And it's going to be a little bit inconvenient, but it will be for the best. And you will probably come out of it being a lot more content with the result. So, not that you are dumb, not that you are a failure. There might be certain aspects of this situation that make you feel that way. So I don't want you to focus on that. I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to understand that sometimes things are misaligned, and it can take quite some time to figure out where that misalignment is and get it straightened out. And then in order to straighten some things out, you have to go back, over here, straighten this thing out, move this thing over, move this thing over, move this thing over, and finally you get back to where everything was misaligned and you have the space to fix it, to get it evened out the way that it needs to be. So there's going to be a process like that this week for you, and I just hope that you will have patience. There is going to be a full moon in Capricorn this week, which means that the moon is going to be in opposition to the sun in your sign. For all of you Cancerian sun signs who are having your birthday this week, I really wish you a happy birthday. I hope that you have a good one. And I hope that whatever it is that you're about to go through will not be super stressful. I think it has the potential to be stressful, but if you treat yourself very gently and you just deal with this thing very patiently, Take as much time as you need. I don't think this is something that you're going to have to address quickly and abruptly. I think this is something that you can kind of tease apart. Any of my textile crafters out there who have ever gotten a knot in their string, it's going to be like gently untying that knot without breaking the string. All right. If you would, Cancer, please direct your questions into the cover of this book. Wonderful, wonderful. Prosperity will succeed misfortune. So whatever it is that needs to be ironed out, once you get that fixed up, everything else is going to flow so much more smoothly in your life. Thank you for joining me, Cancer. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please let me know down in the comments. If any parts of it especially resonated with you, let me know. I wish all my Cancerians with a birthday this week a very happy solar return. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hi, Leo. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. For the readings this week, I am using this beautiful plasma agate. I love it because it's got all these beautiful fluid lines to it. You can see where it was once very liquidy and then solidified. I'm not exactly sure how plasma agate is formed, but I think it's very beautiful. And I love using it for the scrying. Leo, what are we looking at this week? You've been in a hard place. And you've been kind of like when you are in a crevice, when you're crawling up a crevice in the rocks, and you kind of press your back against one wall of the rock face and then your feet against the other wall, and you're just trying to crawl up and pull yourself up in this crevasse. And not many people feel the desire to climb this particular rock face. It's not that no one else does it. It's that the average person really doesn't have any interest in putting themselves through the particular kind of trial that you have. And you will be soon rewarded for your trials. Coming up over the edge of the cliff. You still have a bit further to go. A little bit further to go, but not by much, because I can see you now digging your climbing hooks into that lip of the cliff, pulling yourself up to the plateau. But you don't know what that plateau looks like yet. And it may look very different from how you've imagined. But I do think that you will be seeing success. It could be halfway through July that this happens, that you're able to finally pull yourself up onto the cliff top, the top of the mesa, or the top of this particular, because it's very dry, like the southwest of the United States. That's kind of the climate that I'm seeing here. Kind of hot, very cool in the shade, but very hot once you reach the top. and things might just not look the way that you have expected them to. So just keep an open mind and an open heart when it comes to these new situations coming into your life. Because it will not do to regret or resent them. What is going to come in for you is going to be very good. And so it's important to enjoy it for what it is and not wish that you had gotten something different, because it wouldn't have necessarily been equivalent to more. All right, let's look into the bibliomancy, Leo. So if you would, direct your questions into the cover of the book. Lucky horseshoe, perhaps. When thy misfortunes press hardest on thee, be not dismayed, but endeavor to remove them. Thank you for joining me, Leo. If you enjoyed this reading, please let me know down in the comments. And please also share this video with your friends if you think they would get something out of it too. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Virgo. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. For the scrying this week, I'm going to be using this plasma agate. It's got these beautiful veins of clear crystal in it, if you can see that. Virgo, what are we looking at this week for you? Something about your shoelaces. So you might have had uneven shoelaces that need to be replaced. They're old and worn, and you've been putting it off because it just doesn't seem worth the hassle. You know, changing out a pair of shoelaces can kind of be a pain in the behind. And they still mostly work. I just need to keep my shoes on my feet. I'm not a track star by any means. There could be something like this where it's not like, well, it doesn't really need to be fixed, but my life would be way better if I did. These shoes would keep out rainwater much better if I would replace these old dingy shoelaces with ones that I can actually tie around my foot. And that the entire thing itself doesn't need to be replaced. So the shoes themselves are fine. It's just the shoelaces that need to be replaced too. So keep that in mind, because this is probably, it could be specific for some of you, but it's probably mostly a metaphor for something that's going on in your life right now, where some component, maybe even like in your kitchen, you have a stove and one of the burners doesn't work properly, or that your refrigerator doesn't quite get down to temperature, or that the light, more appropriately, maybe that the light bulb would be burned out in the refrigerator so you can't tell if the door is open or closed. Something like that, where if you fixed it, it would make kind of a difference in your life. So, or cleaning out the trap in your dishwasher. There's like a food trap underneath, and it gets really nasty in there. And if you clean it out, your dishwasher will work so much better. But that's only those of you who have a dishwasher in your kitchen. And I'm using all these kitchen metaphors, but remember that I originally was talking about shoelaces. So this could be, it could be like a tail light burned out on your car. Just any number of things like that. That if you would take the short amount of time that it's actually going to need to repair this thing, that it will be so worth it. Because I think another aspect of this too is that it's something that it probably isn't going to take you that long to do it, but the planning process takes up a lot of mental energy, and the doing it is kind of a process. Even though it doesn't take very long, it requires a lot of concentration and can, require some finagling and some work. So I think that's probably something that I would invite you to do over the next week, Virgo. And if you would, please direct your questions into the cover of this book. Wonderful. If thou likest cabbage, use the needle. So cabbage could be talking about money. It could just be talking about cabbage. Use the needle. You can grow a lot of these leafy greens hydroponically. You could honestly do a lot with that. With that fortune. I would take it to mean if you like making money, you could become a seamstress or a tailor. Both of those terms are, I'll just say tailor. Seamstress is very gendered. Anyway, Virgo, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please let me know how it resonated with you down in the comments. Share it with your friends if you think you have a friend that would benefit from the information here. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Libra. Libra. Usually I go in order, but this time I felt inclined to do Libra right after doing Aries. And of course, Aries and Libra are in opposition to each other. So this week I'm using my plasma agate. You can see all of the striations here where the rock is kind of solid but also kind of fluid. Libra, what are we looking at here for the week ahead? You've been given an opportunity. This could be a new job. It could be a chance to go on a date with somebody. It could be a position as somebody's personal assistant, and they have the opportunity to make you very successful. Remember that Kim Kardashian originally came on to, I think was Paris Hilton on The Simple Life at the time, maybe. She was introduced as Paris Hilton's personal assistant way back when. Now, I'm not saying that you need to keep up with the Kardashians. I don't think anybody really does. But it could be a similar kind of situation to where this very high-profile person takes you on for a period of time as a personal assistant or something like that. So, Libra, is this going to be a good opportunity for you to take? I think this job could be very demanding, and there are certainly going to be some drawbacks. Now, the thing is that if you take a position like this one, you want to know that you're also going to be getting something out of it. You definitely should not just be working for somebody because you're a huge fan of theirs and you have undying loyalty to them. Most people who are looking for personal assistance are looking for someone who is much more invested in their future than their own. Looking for somebody who will put themselves second and put them first. So, is this going to be that kind of situation? Will you be able to strike this balance? For a time, you will be able to strike this balance. And it would be your nature that you would probably be able to navigate this circumstance to your benefit. Depending on what other chart placements you have too. I think for a lot of people it could be different. Really pay attention when you are interacting with this person. How do they treat the people around them that they've already kind of won over? And really ask yourself, like, what is the cap on your commitment? Is it a certain salary requirement? Is it a period of time? Like, I want to do this for 5 years and then I want to move on to something else. I can promise you this much of my time, and then after that, I have to go and do my own thing. So you have to have your boundaries already in mind going into this situation so that you can get your best benefit out of it. Obviously, it shouldn't be all about your benefit. You have to be willing to put in the work, for sure, and you have to be loyal to that person to a certain extent also. So that there's not gaps. Something about gaps in your employment history. I don't think that's as much of a problem now as it used to be. But I wouldn't let somebody bully you with that either. I wouldn't let somebody say, like, well, you've got all these gaps in your employment history, so therefore I can treat you however I want when you come here and work for me. I don't think it's like that right now. But yeah, give them your resume for sure. And if it turns out to be a good fit, I think that you could get a lot out of it, a lot of good connections. But just maintain your own sense of self and your own boundaries. Decide what those are going into the situation and just don't budge on it. All right, Libra, if you would, please address any questions to the oracular book. Oh. Yes. When thou hast amassed £10,000, retire. So also come up with a sum of money that you could retire if you had that amount of money. Libra, thank you so much for joining me. I always greatly enjoy our time together. If you enjoyed this reading, please let me know down in the comments. And share this video with your friends if you think they would enjoy it. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back. For the readings this week, I will be using this plasma agate. It's very nice. It looks very like fluid inside. You can see the different layers, which I love. And I'm also using this super hit fragrance oil as my scrying oil this week to further imbue the particular traits of each astrological sign. Scorpio, what are we looking at for you for the week ahead? That starts June 21st. June 21st. So the moon is actually going to start out in Scorpio the week of June 21st. So you can go back to the ephemera and find out more about that. Something about time being very important this week. Now, I don't think this is necessarily like not having enough time. I feel like this is the timeline of past events. So there's something about the timeline of past events for you, which is going to come up this week. And you're going to have to go back and do some kind of accounting, possibly, in regards to where your life was at different points. And did this happen first or did this happen first? Did I do this at this time or was I living here? I think there's going to be some situations coming up where you're going to have to straighten out your timeline regarding some certain things. And the reason for this, you could be writing memoirs, and on a less public level, there's going to be a certain period of time that you weren't sure about. That, not that these issues are necessarily coming up again, but there could be like a sobriety anniversary involved, or the anniversary of something where you made a very life-changing decision and decided to move forward in a certain way. And so part of that timeline that you're going to be constructing is going to have to do with these different benchmarks. The benchmarks that you were hitting along the way. And I decided to move out of that house where all these people lived who were enabling me, or I decided to take the leap and move cross country so that I could pursue my dream of acting, something like that. Because it doesn't have to necessarily be that you gave up addiction or something like that. This could also be the point at which you decided to take a certain course of action toward the future that you wanted. And that can take any kind of shape or form. But the timeline here is going to be important because funding involved. There could be some kind of potential for you to make money in it. So it might be writing a memoir. It might be that if there's like a certain timeline that you align with, that you qualify for a certain grant. So I'm not entirely sure what that would look like, but it's going to be something like that, where your ability to get funding from a particular source is going to depend on your timeline being all straightened out, and that it's contingent on a bunch of little points along the way. So I'm not sure exactly what that looks like, but I feel like that's something that you might be taking care of over the week ahead. All right, Scorpio. So if you would, please direct your questions here into the cover of the book. Yes, perfect. Interesting. So, as you know, sometimes Scorpio is also the eagle and not just the scorpion. The wings of the eagle of the north will be clipped and his talons blunted. Now, I don't think this means necessarily you're having your power taken away from you. I think it's more about reining yourself back in. And really, like, because you're going to be putting all these timeline units in order, right? You want to do that with a scalpel. You don't want to do it with a sledgehammer. So just be very careful. It could be quite a bit of money that you're looking at here. All right, Scorpio. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I always love spending time together. Or I always love our time together, rather. It doesn't cost me anything, really. It doesn't cost you anything either. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know down in the comments. Share it with your friends if you think they would get something out of it too. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Welcome back, Sagittarius. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So for the readings this week, I'm going to be using this plasma agate. Plasma agate. I love using this stone for the crystal scrying. Sagittarius, what are we looking at for the week ahead? Some of you could have received a birthday gift. So if you are a Sagittarius moon or a Sagittarius rising, the moon will also be in Sagittarius over the course of this week. So if you are a Cancer sun sign and you have a Sagittarius moon, this is going to extra apply to you. Yeah, something you've been given for your birthday. For those of you who will not be receiving a birthday present this week. This could be a birthday present that you received at the time of your solar return. If you're a Sagittarius sun sign, that would have been back in November or December sometime. It could also be, you know, for Sagittarius rising. Look into the rest of your chart and see. Remember that we also have Venus in Cancer right now going into Leo, and we have Mars in Leo and Jupiter in Pisces and some other placements that are very prominent right now. So just check your chart. Anyway, to get back on track, sorry about that diversion. This is going to be about a birthday present that you have either received recently or you received it for your birthday and then just haven't really had an opportunity to use it until now. This could be a gift certificate too, that maybe you haven't had an opportunity to use this gift certificate yet. But what is going to come of this present is it's a little bit astounding. It's going to bring you somewhere that you might not have gone otherwise. Obviously, you're going to have a great time. It doesn't necessarily have to be a gift certificate. This could be something that, it could be like a new pair of sneakers and you just haven't busted them out yet. It could be a new garment. Or it could just be like, I really do see like a lot of energy around like a gift certificate or a check that hasn't been cashed yet, or you open a birthday card and there's a $50 bill inside. It's something like that, and it's going to open up opportunities for you that you would not have had otherwise. So like, maybe because you found this spare $50, you go to Best Buy and buy like a CD. I'm just kidding. But you might buy something that then leads to something else. You might meet somebody there at the store. It's going to kind of set off this chain of events. Because of course this is a general reading, so it's going to be different for everyone. But this present that you received is going to set off a chain of events that ends up where you are at a party having a really great time with a bunch of people that I think are new to your life. So there could be people that you know there, but I feel like you're just going to be having a really great time around a bunch of people that you maybe have never met before. It could even be a pool party. So maybe you buy a bathing suit and you look so great in your bathing suit at the beach that some rich and fabulous person is like, you look amazing and I want you poolside at my party because I want attractive people to be there. So it could be something like that. Who knows? That's for you to find out. Because I've told you enough. No, that's enough for you to know about this situation. You just have to trust. All right, Sagittarius, if you would, please direct your questions here into the cover of this book. And so, do be diligent in thy calling, and puff not thy mind up with false hopes. Thank you, Sagittarius. If you enjoyed this reading, please let me know down in the comments. If you think that your friends would get something out of it, I hope that you'll share it with them as well. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hi Capricorn, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Yes, we are almost halfway through 2021. Can you believe it? Yeah, I can't either. This is the crystal I'll be using for the readings today. It is a plasma agate. Plasma agate. You can see there's beautiful veins of clear crystal in it. It's very fluid looking. I love using this for scrying. I really do. Capricorn, I do have to mention right off the bat, so Pluto has been retrograde in your sign since last year. Now, a lot of the other planetary energies have moved on. There was a lot going on in Capricorn this year, and so now things are kind of slowly getting back into some sense of normalcy, right? But Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn, and the moon is going to also be in Capricorn over the course of the next week. So make sure to listen to the ephemera at the beginning of the video if you'd like more information about that. Now, what are we looking at here for you for the week ahead? Getting back to business. Somebody wearing like a nice wool suit, a nice kind of gray wool suit, and an attaché case. I'm seeing an attaché case in your hand, and I feel these really uncomfortable dress shoes on my feet. Like men's dress shoes. But like the squeaky hard ones. So, these are really nice. So they have like some padding on the sole, but they're also just very rigid and not very flexible. Very shiny. You're very fixed up. It's on Wall Street in New York City. Somebody a little bit younger. And this kind of just represents your energy for the week ahead, that you're kind of getting back to business as usual, but you're also very new to what is coming ahead. It's hot. So even though you're wearing this very heavy wool suit, you're starting to sweat. Yeah, it might be that this is your nice suit. Definitely not ideal for the floor of the stock exchange. I'm not entirely sure how trading has been handled during the quarantine. I won't really speak on that too much, but I do, now I'm on the trading floor and everybody's yelling and throwing their hands in the air, and people are wearing masks, but they're also pulling their masks down so they can yell louder. And it's hot there too, and there's just a lot of activity going on. So over the next week, this could be the most money that you've ever made in your life also. So I'm seeing something about that as well. It's just kind of this general environment of you're not like freshly graduated from college, from your degree program, but maybe have been doing something for 2 to 3 years that is about to turn into the highest paying opportunity that you will have had up until this point. Now, what is the timeline for this? September. You might be applying for jobs right now. You're really going to start to see the unfurling of this in September. So that might be, you might get the job interview in July or August, and then be brought on board in September, or September might mark the end of your onboarding process for this new job. And if it's not working for somebody else, if this is a situation where you're starting your own company, September is when you're really going to start to see your profits coming in and recognize this as something that's a viable source of income for you, a viable way of supporting yourself. All right. And it doesn't have to be a new job. It might be that a lot of people are returning from working at home situations, and you end up getting promoted into a different position, or you end up just that your job description has been revamped, and that it gives you an opportunity to really succeed. So that's a possibility too, for those of you who have long-standing careers you've been doing for a long time. All right, if you would, direct your questions here into the cover of this book. Wonderful, wonderful. If thou seest the man whom thou callest thy friend act deceitfully toward others, deceive not thyself into thinking he will be faithful to thee. Capricorn, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please let me know down in the comments. If you have a friend that you think would get something out of this reading, I hope you would share it with them. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hi, Aquarius. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm going to be using this plasma agate for the readings this week. I love it. It's this beautiful green variegated stone with very light seafoam parts, and then it has darker parts of green too. I feel like when you go to the store and you buy a fluffy, brand new down pillow, and you get it home and you haven't even put the pillowcase on it yet, and it's just very crisp and very soft and very new, and the little pin feathers sometimes poke out of the fabric covering so that it sometimes you can feel like the little points of the pin feathers poking out, right? So there's something like that going on for you over the next week. I don't know if you are buying a new pillow, but there could be something like that where you are either buying new bedding, maybe buying a new bed, maybe freshening up your sleeping quarters so that everything is crisp. The whiteness of it is very pronounced to my mind's eye, that everything is very crisp and white, not stained. It's not like you're doing your bedroom up in dark colors either. I personally like a darker bedroom because I like to be able to sleep during the day if I'm tired. And sometimes if everything's this blinding white, it can make it very difficult to have it dark enough during the day to get any sleep. But if you are waking up early and you're turning over this leaf where you want to wake up early and get moving on your day, then having everything be this very blinding shade of white in your bedroom might be part of that process for you. Everything's very cool and soft, so wherever this is, there's good air conditioning there, and that it seems like it's a very restful and refreshing place for you. So if this bedroom is not a physical space within your home, it could also be a metaphorical space that you are occupying right now, that you're able to get good rest, you're able to be refreshed by your surroundings, and that it is helping you this week to rejuvenate yourself. All right, Aquarius, let's move on to the bibliomancy. So if you would, please direct your questions into the cover of this book. And let's see what we have in store for you. Thy image is ever before the eyes of thy beloved. So you are fresh in the hearts of those who love you. And remember that Mars is in your opposing sign, Leo, and Venus is about to enter Leo. So both of those planets, Mars and Venus, which have a lot to do with passion and romance, are going to be in your opposing sign of Leo. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it could be quite a good catalyst for you to affect changes in your romantic life, if that's what you're choosing to do this week. So I'll leave that up to you, Aquarius. Thank you for joining me. I greatly enjoy our time together. If you enjoyed this crystal scrying, please let me know down in the comments if anything resonated with you. If you have any friends that you think would enjoy this video, I hope you'll share it with them. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Pisces. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. For the readings this week, I'm going to be using this plasma agate. Plasma agate. It's got these beautiful veins of clear crystal in it. I love using this stone for scrying. There's even a little window here that I can see light through. Pisces, what are we looking at for the week ahead? You're going through all your old gym shorts. So this could be you going through all your clothes from high school and seeing what still fits and what you want to get rid of. Like old gym uniforms. I know, like, when I was in high school, we always had gym uniforms, and it was like a t-shirt and some shorts. And some people choose to wear those after they graduate, and some people are really ready to move on. So there might be something like that is a garment that holds great nostalgia for you. Which might have been something that someone else would have gotten rid of right after its functionality had passed. So this could be, a gym uniform from school. It could be a bridesmaid's dress or a suit that you might have worn to a friend's wedding if you were part of their wedding. It would be something like that. Maybe even clothes that you had that you bought to be in a play. If you had to supply your own wardrobe for this play, or being an extra in a movie or something like that, and you supplied your own garment pieces. It's going to be something like that. It's like this piece of clothing, its functionality is past, but you still have a nostalgic tie to it. And it might have functionality outside of its original purpose. And it could be a piece of clothing, but it could also be like a textbook. It could be a notebook. It could be a book you were assigned to read for class. It could be even, I don't know, like a water bottle, or there's all kinds of things that this could be, but I think that it's something that you are evaluating its new place in your life. So does this garment fit me anymore? Physically? Does this garment fit my personality? Because sometimes it doesn't really matter if a piece of clothing fits you as much as it matters if it's something that you're actually going to wear. So I feel like Pisces, you're going to be confronted with a situation like this week, and you will be deciding whether or not something is to remain in your life or whether it's time to let it go. And it could be something that could be very functional for someone else, and maybe you pass it along to someone that you know. Alright, Pisces, if you would, please direct your questions here into the cover of this book. And let's see what we have here. Avoid edge tools. So that includes knives, screwdrivers, some kinds of silverware. And to avoid this great evil depends principally on thyself. So if you must use edge tools, just be very careful using them. You can wear gloves to keep yourself from getting cut, and get someone to help you if you're not feeling sure about it. Pisces, thank you so much for joining me. I always love our time together. If you enjoyed this reading, please let me know what resonated with you down in the comments. If you have any friends that you think would also benefit from what I've presented here, I hope you'll share this video with them. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon.